Chapter 51 Obelisk. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Several agents quickly approached the beach house. Sumu recognized their leader instantly, Crossbones, an elite agent who'd shown up in the Marvel movies a few times. No doubt, these guys were Hydra, but what did they want with him? Crossbones led his team toward the villa. The closer they got, the faster his heart pounded. Even his hardcore training couldn't stop the throbbing. After all, the white-haired devil lived in that villa, the guy who'd flipped off the world, spat on the military, killed thousands, and walked away clean. His boss had told him the white-haired demon could wipe out the planet or rule it, achieving Hydra's long-held dream, if he felt like it. So, even though this mission was likely a one-way ticket, he had to go. If they could get the white-haired demon on their side, nothing could stop Hydra from taking over the world. Lightly armed, they advanced. Besides essential gear, they carried no guns. They knew those weapons, deadly to normal people, were just toys to this guy. The villa door was open. They walked in to find the white-haired devil sprawled in a chair, looking at them with lazy eyes. P.S. Imagine the guy on the cover, okay? He yawned, then said, Hydra. Or is it S.H.I.E.L.D. now? What's up? Crossbones froze. He didn't expect the guy to know their connection to S.H.I.E.L.D. Had Hydra been exposed already? His training kicked in, and he forced himself to stay calm. Your Excellency, the white-haired demon, I'm here to invite you to join Hydra. Sumu saw their racing pulses, despite their efforts to hide it. A smile played on his lips. I want the Tesseract and the Obelisk. Give me those, and maybe I'll join. Crossbones looked uncomfortable. That was way above his pay grade. I need to run that by my superiors. He patched in Alexander Pierce. Sir, Mr. Sumu's willing to join, but he wants the Tesseract and the Obelisk. Tesseract and Obelisk. Pierce's face went dark. Hydra had been messing with the Tesseract since World War II, using its insane energy to build superweapons. It had been a game-changer. Okay, S.H.I.E.L.D. controlled it now, but S.H.I.E.L.D. was Hydra. Still, giving it to this guy was out of the question. It was a sacred treasure. Then he thought about the Obelisk. Anyone who touched it without being special turned to stone. It was useless. Hydra didn't value it compared to the Tesseract. Better to give him that. If the white-haired demon touched the Obelisk and was fine, then even if he didn't join, they'd gain a powerful ally. And if he got turned to stone, the world would lose a dangerous loose cannon, and Hydra would have one less obstacle to world domination. He told Crossbones, tell him we can only give him the Obelisk right now. He gets the Tesseract when Hydra rules the world. He had no intention of ever handing over the Tesseract. That was just a stall tactic. Crossbones relayed the message. Sumu's smile widened. Deal, he never planned to cooperate anyway. Getting the Obelisk, a new energy source, was a sweet bonus. Why wouldn't he agree? As for the Tesseract, Loki's delivery was on its way soon. Crossbones was stoked. Getting this guy on board meant Hydra would be unstoppable. But then, his smile froze, the white-haired demon vanished and reappeared in front of him. He found himself paralyzed, except for his mouth. Mr. Sumu, what are you doing? We're allies, right? The smile on the white-haired devil's face twisted into something mean. Yeah, allies. But allies respect each other. You crashed my place uninvited. Gotta pay up. But isn't this Tony Stark's beach house? Crossbones asked, confused. What's mine is mine, the white-haired devil said calmly, leaving no room for argument. Crossbones tried to argue, but he couldn't. The demon's hands glowed with heat. A ping-pong ball-sized ball formed and floated toward him. Terror filled his eyes as the ball sank into his mouth. Unimaginable heat exploded inside him, burning him from the inside out. His body began to glow with glowing cracks, spreading until they covered him entirely. When the light reached its peak, he disintegrated into ashes. It was over in seconds. The other agents didn't even know what happened. They were about to run when spatial rifts centered on Sumu, slicing everything within 5 meters. The agents were instantly reduced to blood mist. Not even a drop remained. Sumu grabbed the communicator with his powers and said to Alexander Pierce, "Sir, send another guy with the obelisk. And be on time. You don't want to see me angry, right?" Pierce's face was a mask of fury. He wanted to scream, but he didn't dare. Then, the white-haired devil's lazy voice came over the communicator. "Oh, one more thing, Chief Pierce. Remember to knock next time." He ended the call, ignoring Pierce's rage, and looked outside. Floating in the air, a guy in high-tech armor stared down at him, cosmic rays burning in his eyes. Sumu's smile widened. Things were getting interesting. Please read and collect. Chapter 52 Space Disruption Device. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Times Square in New York City, normally a showcase for high-end fashion and global trends, was dominated by a news bulletin. Eddie Brock, a rising star in journalism, stood before the camera, his expression grave. The white-haired demon has evolved to a point where he can withstand nuclear blasts. Human technology is useless against him. Worse, he operates outside the bounds of law and morality. Just days ago, he leveled the White House with some kind of purple energy sphere. Then, in a battle with the X-Men, he unleashed a mutant power in downtown Washington that was almost nuclear in scale. The resulting repulsion obliterated a multi-block area, causing tens of thousands of casualties. This is the worst terrorist attack since 9/11, amplified 1,000 times. Yet, in a move that defies logic, this demon didn't harm the protesters who support him. This has led to a surge in global support and even the formation of white-haired demon worship groups. It's terrifying. Are we really ready to entrust the future of humanity to this being? Are we destined to become slaves to mutants? What will become of us? Nearby, a handsome man stood transfixed, watching the news reports about the white-haired demon play out on the massive screens. In moments, he absorbed the key facts: the world's most powerful mutant, an unrepentant killer, destroyer of the White House, the military's worst nightmare, a game-changer, and soon, perhaps, the exterminator of humanity. Such wholesale slaughter was anathema to the Eternals, protectors of humankind. Even if the white-haired demon wasn't technically a mutant, he was on their hit list. Ikaris, the Eternals' most formidable warrior, focused on the screen. The white-haired demon stood above the crater of a nuclear blast, laughing maniacally and flipping off the sky. This mutant couldn't be allowed to live. The cost in human lives was too high. Besides, weren't mutants just deviant offspring, anyway? That made it even worse. Clutching a device from a SHIELD agent, Ikaris recalled the demon's last known location and shot into the sky, heading for the black coast of San Diego, California, at top speed. He reached Tony Stark's beach house in record time, only to witness the white-haired demon murdering several people. The demon seemed to sense his arrival, turning to face him with a cruel, delighted grin. Confirmation: the white-haired demon had to die. He couldn't fulfill his duty as an Eternal otherwise. Looking down, Ikaris delivered his verdict. "Mutant, you're finished." Despite the media hysteria, Ikaris didn't believe the white-haired demon was his superior. He was the Eternal's greatest warrior, fearless and more than capable of dealing with a deviant offshoot. Meanwhile, aboard the SHIELD helicarrier, Nick Fury and Coulson monitored satellite feeds. Ikaris and the white-haired demon had made contact. A showdown was imminent. Fury turned to Coulson. "What are the odds of Ikaris taking down the white-haired demon?" Coulson responded, "1-on-1, without assistance, I don't see him breaking through the demon's space defense. But with Dr. Reed Richards' space disruption device, he stands a good chance of wounding him, possibly even winning." Fury wasn't so sure. Richards' device should work, but he wasn't ready to bet against the white-haired demon. There was no telling what other abilities he had hidden or developed. The instant Ikaris appeared, Sumu recognized him, the Marvel version of Superman. This Eternal shared many of Superman's powers: heat vision, super strength, super speed, invulnerability, flight. The only difference was that these powers were weaker than Superman's. He also lacked a bioelectric aura and the ability to gain power from the sun. Even so, he was a powerful warrior, possibly the strongest on Earth. At first, Sumu was pleased to see Ikaris. The upgraded unlimited technique needed a test run. The agents he had just tangled with couldn't push the level 4 tech to its limits, but Ikaris' arrogance rubbed him the wrong way. Who the hell did this guy think he was, talking to him like that? Without hesitation, Sumu vanished and reappeared in front of Ikaris, caught completely off guard. Ikaris took a fist to the face, a storm of black and red lightning erupting with the blow. His handsome features instantly contorted as blood splattered. The force sent him hurtling backwards, shattering the sound barrier and crashing into the ocean, creating a massive tidal wave. As Ikaris sank, his previous arrogance evaporated. All he could think was, what just happened, thanks to his eternal physiology, Ikaris wasn't incapacitated by Sumu's black flash punch. He shot out of the water, hovering above the surface, his eyes fixed on the white-haired demon. This guy was more powerful than he'd imagined. Nevertheless, Ikaris activated the space disruption device, firing his cosmic rays at the demon. With his space defense momentarily neutralized, the demon would be taken down. Just as Ikaris was about to smirk, he noticed the demon wearing a sarcastic grin. The cosmic rays weren't hurting him, he was absorbing them. Please read, collect, and vote for the monthly ticket. Chapter 53. You are weak, but you will still die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ikaris hadn't realized the white-haired demon could absorb energy. Seeing his best shot not only fail but actually power up his opponent, he knew he was in for a fight. His earlier cockiness vanished. Ikaris tapped into the Eternal's full potential, drawing on the surrounding cosmic energy to boost his strength. Though humbled, he still wasn't throwing in the towel. He glared at the demon and said, "You're strong, but you're still going down." Sumu studied the Marvel version of Superman. Through his enhanced vision, he could see the golden energy core inside Ikaris. The Eternals had these energy cores implanted in them, practically limitless power sources that fueled their lives. While not exactly Infinity Stone level power, it was still serious juice, and these cores had one big advantage over the stones: stable energy that was easy to tap into. Even with level 4 energy absorption, Sumu wasn't sure he could just siphon power from an Infinity Stone. But an Eternal's core? That was a different story. Ikaris' energy core would keep him going for ages. He could ditch the arc reactor and just live off that until he could handle the stones, but taking down Ikaris wouldn't be a walk in the park. The Eternals were built by the celestial leader Arishem the Judge. Their bones and muscles were made of some crazy special stuff, giving them insane strength and durability, and Ikaris, being the best of the bunch, had even more strength and durability. Plus, Sumu knew Ikaris could fly at ridiculous speeds, way faster than he could currently manage. If Ikaris decided to bolt, he'd be gone. His armor, also celestial made, was super strong. Combined with his natural defenses, even the Hulk would have trouble getting through. Killing Ikaris was going to be tough, but the unlimited technique had just leveled up, and Sumu was itching to test it out. With Black Flash active, Sumu entered the zone, controlling his powers with newfound precision. His level 3 vision and level 4 energy absorption meant he could finally use Black Flash at 100%. Ignoring Ikaris, Sumu vanished and reappeared right in front of him. This time, Ikaris was ready. He didn't even flinch, meeting Sumu head-on, confident in his ability to withstand the attack. Their fists collided, unleashing black and red lightning. The impact ripped through the area. Tony's villa crumbled instantly, even the underground lab was gone. The sea below them imploded, creating a massive crater. A tidal wave surged outwards. Sumu and Ikaris traded blows, tearing up the landscape. Ikaris grew increasingly alarmed. Sumu's energy absorption seemed limitless. He was sucking up Ikaris' kinetic energy, getting stronger with every hit, like a black hole devouring him. With each passing second, Ikaris' confidence waned. His arrogance was gone, replaced by grim determination. He couldn't hurt the guy. Any energy he threw was just fuel, but Sumu's attacks weren't doing much either. The white-haired demon might be fast compared to regular humans, but Ikaris could easily dodge, and even when those black-red singularity blasts landed, they didn't do lasting damage as long as they avoided his head. His eternal physiology healed him fast. This gave Ikaris some hope. The demon was just hard to hit and drained energy. Once his friends joined the fight, they could take him down. Circe's matter transmutation would bypass the demon's absorption. It wasn't just energy, it was rewriting molecules. Thinking this, Ikaris decided to find reinforcements. He might be cocky, but he wasn't stupid. After another clash, he turned to get out of there, but then, in a moment of mental lapse, he saw the demon disappear. The next instant, he was face to face with Sumu, those glowing eyes staring at him like a predator sizing up its prey. After this brutal fight, Sumu had finally found an opening. The further he got from Ikaris, the less effective the space jamming field was. His vision had adapted, and with the field weakened, he could finally use the unlimited technique. A miniature azure black hole and a black and red singularity formed in his palm, merging into a pulsing purple mass the size of a basketball. The unlimited technique was go. Sumu ditched the Tsang teleport and switched to rapid-fire space jumps. The jumps put a strain on him, but they also granted him an unparalleled burst of speed. Sumu appeared in front of Ikaris in a flash. The purple mass punched through space, tore through the chaotic field, and slammed into Ikaris. The specially designed eternal body was like paper before the purple sphere. First, the indestructible armor, then the skin that could shrug off nukes, the muscles that gave the Eternals their power, and finally the super-dense bones. The body Ikaris was so proud of was instantly pierced. The ocean behind him turned to nothing. Ikaris managed to twist, letting the blast tear through his abdomen. Then, he realized someone was beside him, the white-haired demon. His words echoed in Ikaris' ears, slightly altered. "You're weak, and you're going down," but the jamming field was gone. Sumu could use short-range teleportation right next to Ikaris, and at that range, he was faster than Ikaris could react. As Ikaris writhed in pain, Sumu poured power into his hand, and slammed it into Ikaris' face. Black and red lightning exploded, accompanied by countless spatial tears mixed with the blood of a being the ancients saw as a god, sending them crashing into the sea like meteors. The vacuum left by the implosion still wasn't closed, and the collision sent a new wave hundreds of meters high surging outwards. Chapter 54 Kill Ikaris and obtain the energy core. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom! The impact rippled out from the point of contact, shaking the seabed and sending tremors through a huge area of the water. Massive waves surged toward the coast, creating an artificial tsunami. The force of the impact carved a massive crater into the seabed. Now, water rushed back in, filling the void. However, at the very center of the crater, a spherical zone about 10 meters wide remained untouched by the flood, as if an invisible barrier kept the water at bay. Within this zone, Sumu held Ikaris pinned, face first, into the rock. The combined effect of limitless repulsion, reversal, red, energy absorption, and the curse-enhanced strength, meant even Ikaris, stronger than the Hulk, couldn't break free. A barrage of space cleaves gradually shredded his eternal armor, tore at his superhuman flesh, and ripped apart his pride. He howled in pain and rage, but the Eternal's mightiest warrior was like a bug, squashed and helpless. Sumu studied Ikaris, whose body was constantly breaking down and regenerating, and mused to himself, now that he had just gained access to level 4 limitless, the power of his space cleaves was still too weak to solidify effectively. They were fine against mortal bodies, but against a non-human physiology like the Eternals, while they could still break through his defenses, their power was significantly diminished. It would take forever to completely kill Ikaris with space cleaves alone. Seeing Ikaris still struggling beneath him, Sumu grinned. He shifted his stance, planted his foot squarely on the Eternal's head, and raised his hands in a familiar gesture. His left palm opened naturally, while his right hand crossed over it in a mock grip. Inside the 10-meter spherical zone beneath the sea, a swirling azure void and a menacing black and red singularity formed, drawing closer. Purple, lightning-like energy crackled as a sphere materialized in front of Sumu. Hollow purple. Seeing the purple sphere forming again, Ikaris was struck with terror. This attack had pierced his defenses earlier. He thrashed wildly, golden cosmic energy erupting from his eyes in a desperate attempt to fight back, but Sumu absorbed every blast and converted it into his own power. His futile struggles continued until Ikaris pleaded. "Human, let me go. I'm carrying out a mission for Erishem the Judge. If you kill me, the Celestial will destroy you." As he maintained the hollow purple, Sumu scoffed. You mean maintaining the human population to feed the geocentric god and then destroy the earth? Ikaris gasped. How do you know this? Sumu didn't answer, and the purple sphere of annihilation neared completion. Fear consumed Ikaris and an image flashed through his mind, Circe. No, he didn't want to die, not before he could relive his memories with Circe. He redoubled his efforts, straining against his restraints. But the hollow purple was complete. With a snap of Sumu's fingers, the terrifying sphere shot toward Ikaris' head. In a moment of sheer terror, Ikaris' head vanished, utterly annihilated by the blast. The hollow purple continued downwards, leaving a massive, circular chasm in the seabed. Hollow purple had completely destroyed Ikaris' head. Not even the Eternals could recover from that kind of damage. His life was over. The mightiest Eternal on Earth was killed by the white-haired demon in the depths of the ocean. Using his gravity manipulation, Sumu floated Ikaris' remains in front of him. He formed a thumb-sized purple sphere on his index finger and directed it, like a scalpel, to dissect the body. Finally, a golden energy core appeared before Sumu. After millions of years, it still pulsed with immense power. Excitement lit up Sumu's face. He stashed the core in his pocket dimension, feeling the surge of cosmic energy, and grinned. Loki and Jane Foster's delivery hadn't arrived yet, but Ikaris was the first to drop off his package. What a thoughtful guy. After dumping Ikaris' corpse into the bottomless pit, Sumu shot out of the water and flew away. He remembered Tony Stark owned a beachfront villa nearby. On the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, Nick Fury and Corvin watched in silence. They had been monitoring events through a surveillance satellite. The white-haired demon had emerged from the ocean unscathed. While Ikaris was nowhere to be seen, the outcome was obvious. The Eternal's most powerful warrior, a veteran of countless battles throughout human history, had been defeated by the white-haired demon. While shocking, Nick Fury and his team would have maintained their composure, if not for the clarity of the surveillance footage. The white-haired demon, climbing out of the water, was unharmed, save for a few drops of water on his clothing. This suggested the power gap between the white-haired demon and Ikaris was vast, even overwhelming. Nick Fury replayed the battle footage again and again, finally pausing on the moment the white-haired demon emerged from the sea. What happened to the white-haired demon? How could he defeat Ikaris so easily? Nick Fury muttered the question in disbelief. Eventually, Nick Fury shook off his shock, but a sense of powerlessness washed over him. If they struggled with Ikaris, how could they even begin to deal with the white-haired demon? Still, as the world's most seasoned spymaster, Nick Fury regained his composure and instructed Coulson. Inform the Eternals that Ikaris was killed by the white-haired demon. Provide them with all the intel we have on the demon, and the video of the battle with Ikaris. Even though the Eternals are weakened without Ikaris, their unique abilities might pose a challenge to the white-haired demon, maybe even give them a small chance of killing him. Also, send a message to Dr. Reed Richards. Have him develop a more effective space interference device, and a device to counter the white-haired demon's energy absorption ability. P.S. Mr. Fantastic Reed Richards, divert all available funding, excluding base operations, to Dr. Reed Richards' research. Since the white-haired demon seems to have no weaknesses, we'll just have to create some for him. Chapter 55 Portal LV2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the museum curator's office, a group of Eternals clad in unusual armor had gathered. It had been a while since they'd last seen each other, but this reunion was bittersweet. Ikaris, their strongest warrior, was dead. A heavy atmosphere filled the room, each Eternal wearing a mask of grief, though time and diverging paths had led them to scatter and pursue their own lives after the mutant conflict. They still held each other dear. They were, after all, each other's only family. With so few Eternals remaining on Earth, each one was invaluable, and now, Ikaris, their most powerful, had fallen, slain by the descendants of their old enemy, the mutants. This was a blow they couldn't ignore. For Circe, an eternal woman with the ability to transmute matter, the loss was particularly devastating. Ikaris had been her partner for millennia. Even her gentle nature couldn't quell the tide of hatred that now consumed her. Ikaris is dead, Circe declared, her voice tight with fury. Killed by the level 5 mutant, white-haired demon. We have to avenge him. She wanted to rush out and kill the white-haired demon immediately, but reason held her back. If Ikaris couldn't defeat him, what chance did she stand? Water Elf, a diminutive Eternal with powerful illusion-casting abilities who resembled a young teen, chimed in, "What are we waiting for? Let's go take him down." Water Elf had harbored feelings for Ikaris for eons, and the news of his death ignited a rage within her that rivaled Circe's, but unlike Circe, she couldn't accurately gauge the power disparity between herself and the white-haired demon. Gilgamesh, known for his fiery temper, clenched his fists. He controlled cosmic energy, channeling it to enhance his punches, making him a formidable melee fighter, perhaps even stronger than Ikaris in a direct confrontation. He nodded in agreement with Water Elf. "Let's go in together. No matter how strong this white-haired demon is, we'll crush him." Jack, the Eternal's leader, intervened. As their leader on Earth, she possessed wisdom surpassing even Circe's. The news of Ikaris' demise saddened her, but it also gave her a clearer picture of the white-haired demon's strength. While she was their leader, Ikaris was their best fighter. Even as a group, they could only hope to equal Ikaris in a fight. The fact that the white-haired demon had killed him meant he was capable of eliminating them all. It seemed impossible. They had decimated the mutants, yet a being of such power had emerged from their descendants. Regardless of how unbelievable it seemed, they had to face the facts. "We need a solid plan before we even think about facing the white-haired demon," Jack said. Seeing the confusion on their faces, she gestured to a large screen displaying footage of the battle between the white-haired demon and Ikaris. "You've all seen it. The white-haired demon went toe-to-toe with Ikaris and held his own. None of us can claim that, if we want to take him out, there's only one shot. Circe needs to get in close and use her matter transmutation ability to bypass his energy absorption and mutation powers, but according to S.H.I.E.L.D., the white-haired demon seems to have some form of precognition. He likely knows everything about us, including our powers and weaknesses. He'll avoid direct contact with Circe at all costs. Alone, we don't stand a chance. We need to wait, to strategize, and to enlist help. We need to catch the white-haired demon off guard." All this intel came from S.H.I.E.L.D. They want to profit from our struggle with the white-haired demon. They even manipulated Ikaris into seeking him out. They're going to pay for that, and they won't get out of this. We'll work with S.H.I.E.L.D. to figure out how to kill him. And after the white-haired demon is gone, we'll settle things with S.H.I.E.L.D. Jack's words, as the leader of the Eternals, carried significant weight. Her analysis was sound, and the others quickly agreed. They would cooperate with S.H.I.E.L.D., but only until the white-haired demon was defeated. After killing Ikaris and absorbing his energy core, Sumu's energy point gains accelerated, and his template fusion steadily progressed. He continued to hone his skills, especially the portal ability he had such high hopes for. Originally, the portal required drawing magic from the dimension demon god, but Sumu possessed his own energy source, enabling him to create portals independently. After locating another of Tony Stark's seaside villas, he practiced opening portals inside to maximize his experience gains. The system notifications chimed constantly. Energy point +1. 6 eyes experience +1. Energy absorption experience +1. Portal experience +1. Portal experience +1. Portal experience +1. Compared to his other skills, which were already at least level 3, leveling up the portal at level 1 was noticeably easier. It didn't take long for the portal experience to max out, and with another system chime, it finally leveled up. Portal experience +1. Congratulations. Your skill, Portal, has leveled up. Portal LV2, 1/300 consume energy to open a portal to any location you have previously visited. Magic power can be replaced by energy. A flood of knowledge surged into Sumu's mind, further enhancing his understanding of portals. In moments, he could use them without needing a sling ring. Sumu took the ring off his finger and put it in his pocket, breathing a sigh of relief. After all, carrying a heavy, hard ring around wasn't pleasant. Now, a mere flick of his finger in the air summoned a portal. Not only was the ring unnecessary, but the speed was much faster than it had been at level 1. This pleased Sumu. His quick progress was due to a combination of unparalleled talent and hard work. Opening the system panel, Sumu examined the information. Besides the upgraded portal, another skill was close to leveling up. Chapter 56 6 Eyes Level 4 and the upcoming express delivery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Sumu soaked up the energy, he had to use 6 Eyes to micromanage the flow, which also boosted its experience points, even though it wasn't leveling up as fast as his energy absorption. 6 Eyes was about to max out level 3, 6 Eyes LV3, 903/1000 offers a 360-degree, long-range view, the ability to see energy flows, and incredible dynamic vision, allowing for precise energy manipulation. Based on how skills level up, the skill's effects get a technical upgrade with each level. A major transformation happens when it jumps from level 3 to 4, what exactly will 6 Eyes do at level 4? He focused his 6 Eyes, carefully observing everything around him, pushing his energy manipulation to the limit to keep racking up experience. 6 Eyes experience plus 1, 6 Eyes experience plus 1, 6 Eyes experience plus 1, finally, after hours of grinding, the system dinged, 6 Eyes experience plus 1, congratulations. Your 6 Eyes skill has leveled up. 6 Eyes LV4, January 1500 offers a 360-degree, long-range view, the ability to see energy flows, incredible dynamic vision, and X-ray vision, allowing for extremely precise energy manipulation. His already impressive 2-kilometer visual range exploded, doubling, tripling, finally settling at 5 times the original. Now, he could see for 10 kilometers. Beyond just range, his X-ray vision got a huge boost, letting him see through anything within that 10-kilometer radius. Nothing could hide from him, well, almost nothing. Maybe some metals with weird properties, or Kamataja's magic circles, could still block his vision. Most importantly, the upgrade made him way better at controlling his energy, so he wouldn't waste any juice when using his skills. Plus, 6 Eyes could now see even subtler energy flows, like human heat signatures, wind currents, solar energy, and even the protective shield spun around the Earth by the New York and London sanctuaries using Kamatage magic. He gazed up at the boundless magic circle overhead, the one keeping the dimensional demon gods out and safeguarding Earth from external threats. Breaking his gaze, Sumu switched his focus back to the system panel. After all that energy absorption, his template fusion was climbing fast. It now read, template fusion, 78%, just 2 more percentage points and he'd hit 80%, which should unlock a new skill. He'd already unlocked almost all of Gojo Satoru's skills. Hitting 80% should unlock his domain expansion, Infinite Void. Domain expansion was the ultimate technique in Jujutsu Kaisen. It supercharged all abilities within the domain. Gojo Satoru's Infinite Void came with its own unique trick. It trapped the opponent in an endless void, forcing their brain to process an infinite stream of perceptions and conductions just to stay alive. This overload generated so much junk data that the brain shut down, leaving the target helpless and waiting to die. Of course, that was Gojo Satoru's Infinite Void. He wondered what extra perks his version would have, and how it would level up. Sumu was hyped. Just then, a portal ripped open beside him, and a figure stepped through. It was Tony, but he wasn't dressed in his usual playboy gear. Instead, he was rocking a yellow monk's robe. Using 6 Eyes, Sumu could clearly see the energy flow in Tony's body. He'd made serious progress at Kamatage, but Tony was still Tony. Even with the Ancient One's guidance, his core hadn't changed much. The moment he saw Sumu, he launched into an exaggerated complaint. "Dude, I get back to my oceanfront mansion, and all I see is empty ocean. Even the coastline's all messed up." "Sumu, what the heck happened?" Listening to Tony's rant, Sumu gave a deadpan reply. "Probably a meteor landed on your place." Tony choked. Yep, that was Sumu all right. It was just a multi-million-dollar beachfront property, so Tony wasn't really sweating it. He headed for the underground lab, telling Sumu, "Don't bug me for a while, okay? I'm on to something big." The synergy between magic and tech is insane. Seeing Tony practically vibrating with excitement to get to the basement and build a brand new magic-powered armor, Sumu used gravity to stop him. Tony looked at him, puzzled. Sumu said, Forgot I still have some news for you. Don't you want to know the truth about your parents' death? After telling Tony that his parents hadn't died in a car accident, but were murdered by the Winter Soldier, Sumu left the oceanfront mansion. He had no interest in rooming with another guy. Since he delivered the news and brokered the meeting with the Ancient One, Sumu asked Tony for Obadiah's old shares in the company. Now, he was Stark Industries' second largest shareholder after Tony, and a newly minted billionaire. He went to another villa he'd bought earlier, hung out with a few Hollywood actresses, and then slipped into a zen-like state of detachment. He kicked back in the living room, enjoying a massage from the girls, and flipped on the massive TV, looking for some Marvel Universe entertainment. Suddenly, a news report caught his eye. A familiar face popped up on the screen. Rising Star reporter Eddie Brock. He was at a banquet. The place was trashed. Screams and chaos filled the luxury ballroom, and he was talking into the camera. It was clearly a live report, completely off the cuff. Eddie Brock even had stains on his clothes. P.S. Venom, Eddie Brock. But even in the middle of a terrorist attack, the reporter, willing to risk his life for the story, was still a pro. Hi everyone, this is Eddie Brock, reporting live from a banquet. Moments ago, a mysterious man wielding a strange scepter attacked the party, killing many innocent people. Seeing the familiar scene from the movie and the long-haired dude in a suit swinging that weird scepter, Sumu shoved the actress off him, used his gravity powers to grab his scattered clothes, ignored her complaints, and headed out the door. The package had arrived, and he had to sign for it. Just then, several meteors blazed across the sky, leaving fiery trails as they crashed down in some unknown location. Looks like some uninvited alien guests wanted to crash the party, too. Chapter 57, The Invading Symbiote. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Eddie Brock was a reporter on the verge of getting canned until he accidentally snapped a picture of the white-haired devil. That photo changed everything. From the first mutant brawl in the streets to taking down Iron Overlord, going toe-to-toe with Abomination and the Hulk, facing off against the X-Men, surviving a nuclear blast, and even the destruction of the White House, he caught it all, whether by luck or design, and his reputation skyrocketed with every headline, mirroring the white-haired devil's growing notoriety. Now, he's a big shot at Global Daily and a rising star in journalism. So when he got invited to a fancy shindig and saw some weirdo in strange clothes offing people, he knew he had another major scoop on his hands. He immediately told his crew to roll the cameras and get a live feed request into Global Daily. Then, he started broadcasting live from the crime scene. The views were pouring in, just like he'd hoped. He was pumped watching the numbers climb when he noticed the cameraman staring behind him with a look of pure terror. Eddie immediately knew something was wrong. He spun around, but just as he saw the guy holding a bizarre scepter, a searing pain ripped through his chest. He looked down, horrified, and saw the scepter sticking out of him, blood gushing everywhere. Another jolt of pain, more blood, and the suited man yanked the scepter out. Blood kept pumping, his lungs were failing, and Eddie felt dizzy, his vision blurring. He barely saw the mystery man laser the photographer, then his clothes morphed into some kind of crazy armor, and he strolled out. Just as Eddie was about to fade out completely, he saw some kind of black, writhing goo next to him, and it latched onto him. After dispatching the tiny humans, Loki calmly walked out into the screams of the fancy folks. The illusion spell on his suit faded, revealing his Asgardian armor. Looking at the mortals of Midgard running around scared, staring at him with fear, Loki was in his element. Yes, this was more like it. The butt of the scepter slammed against the ground, and shadowy figures materialized around the mortals in the square. Loki stepped forward, looking at the pathetic humans, and boomed. Kneel. Silence. The screams and chaos stopped dead at Loki's command. Seeing the fear on their faces, Loki felt a flicker of impatience. He bellowed again. I said, kneel. Finally, the crowd dropped to their knees, and Loki smirked. He strolled through the crowd, basking in their submission, and continued. Was that so hard? Isn't this what you were made for? You crave servitude. It's in your blood. You were always meant to be ruled. Suddenly, an old man with white hair stood up. He stared at Loki, unafraid, and said slowly. Not by you. Loki sneered, I am unique, that the old man replied, I've seen plenty of your type. That ticked Loki off. The nerve of these pathetic mortals. He raised his scepter and aimed it at the defiant old man, declaring to the others. Look at this fool. He's your example, that the scepter glowed, and a bolt of energy shot towards the old man, ready to kill him. But then, a strong man wearing a Stars and Stripes uniform jumped in front of him, raising a vibranium shield to block the blast. The laser reflected off the vibranium, hitting Loki and sending him sprawling. Captain America said, I remember another guy who thought he was all that. Didn't end well for him. Looking at the man, Loki, who knew a thing or two about Midgard, recognized him. He mocked, a relic of the past, that just then, Black Widow's fighter jet opened fire. Loki, drop your weapon and surrender, but Loki just blasted the jet with an energy beam from the scepter. Seeing this, Captain America charged at Loki, but against the leader of the Frost Giants, with his incredible strength, Captain America didn't stand a chance. The shield was knocked aside, and Captain America was on the ropes. Still stewing about his earlier humiliation, Loki decided to stop playing around. He found an opening and snapped Captain America's legs with the scepter, then planted his foot on his chest, aiming the scepter at his head. I said, you're obsolete, Captain America struggled, but he couldn't stop the scepter from getting closer. When it grazed his forehead, a sudden, incredible surge of power coursed through his body. He shoved the scepter away and kicked Loki off him. Then, he saw a white, viscous liquid engulfing him, and he felt a massive surge of power. As the goo completely covered him, he heard a voice in his head. Hello, Steve. My name is Serum. Looking at the white Stars and Stripes uniform that had formed, Captain America started to speak, but Serum seemed to know what he was thinking. Steve, I think we should handle the bad guy first, then we can chat, right? Captain America felt like he was going through the super soldier transformation all over again. This was a whole new level. A grin spread across his face. He said to Loki, yeah, that's right. I can do this all day. Loki stared at Captain America, covered in white goo. His thousands of years of memory gave him a clue about what it was. A symbiote. Interesting. But you don't think that will be enough to defeat me, do you? Loki slammed the scepter down, piercing a dark silver symbiote, and used the mind scepter to control it, erasing its original will. The dark silver symbiote enveloped Loki, and the combined power of the frost giant and the symbiote was something to behold. A sharp blade formed on his arm. Loki held the mind scepter in one hand and raised the blade to Captain America. Round 2. Chapter 58 Template Fusion Degree, 79. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 58 Template Fusion Degree, 79%, they wrestled again, but the symbiote's arrival dramatically changed their fighting styles. Captain America saw the biggest shift. Unlike Loki, who was naturally superhuman, even after the super soldier serum, Cap's physical abilities were still mortal level. He simply couldn't go toe-to-toe with someone like Loki. Now, bonded with the symbiote, his physical form had finally broken through human limitations. The symbiote morphed into a rope, snatching his shield. White goo covered it, turning it white too. Captain America was a master of almost every fighting style. His close-quarters combat skills were far superior to Loki's. The reason he'd been outmatched before was because, aside from Loki's illusions, the physical difference was too great for any skill to overcome. Now, enhanced by the symbiote, he could at least hold Loki off for a while, even if he still wasn't quite as strong, but Loki was also enhanced. Because the symbiote could copy its host's abilities, Loki's riot quickly mirrored his, significantly boosting his strength and magic. Even so, Captain America couldn't last long against this new Loki and was already starting to lose. Boom. A black figure smashed through a wall in the distance, charging at Loki. Unlike Loki and Captain America, whose symbiotes relied on them, this figure was completely consumed. Thick symbiote mucus covered every inch. This method unleashed the symbiote's full potential. It was Eddie Brock, whom Loki had shot through the chest. In this universe, he was still bonded to Venom. Seeing the man who almost killed him, Eddie Brock roared, "You son of a bitch. I'm gonna kill you." The three clashed, the symbiotes granting them incredible strength. They became like three mini-Hulks, tearing apart everything around them. The ground shattered, the buildings shredded like paper. Then a figure dropped from the sky, landing heavily, and the tide of battle immediately shifted in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s favor. Captain America eyed Black Widow, now encased in a red-gold symbiote. "How did you end up like this?" "Same as you." Black Widow answered, then charged at Loki, facing the attacks of three symbiote hosts. Loki began to falter, eventually falling to the ground. They even ripped Riot from his body. Loki raised his hands. Okay, I surrender." Captain America and Black Widow stopped instantly, but Venom wanted to keep fighting until Cap held him back. As they were trying to restrain Venom and Loki, unhurried footsteps echoed behind them. A man with white hair and blue eyes approached, a smile playing on his lips as he looked at the three. "Gentlemen, could I trouble you for that scepter?" The room fell silent. Everyone recognized him, the most powerful level 5 mutant, the white-haired demon. Why was he here? They all understood how terrifying he was. Even with the symbiote armor, they didn't think they could win. Captain America and Black Widow exchanged grim looks, desperately searching for a solution, but they realized they were hopelessly outmatched. They could fight Loki and win, but against the white-haired demon, they stood no chance. It wasn't even a fair fight. Suddenly, Venom roared and charged at Sumu. "Eddie, that guy's brain looks delicious. I wanna eat it." Eddie Brock's voice screamed from inside Venom, a desperate plea of fear. No. He's the white-haired demon. But Venom, newly bonded with Eddie, didn't know who that was, or what that title meant. So, he bravely charged forward. Seeing the hulking figure rushing at him, Sumu's smile widened. He extended a finger, pointing at Venom, and a black and red singularity formed on its tip. Reverse technique, H. Just as Venom reached Sumu, the singularity erupted, blasting Venom away like a meteor. His bones, flesh, and blood were pulverized, and he crashed through the walls, disappearing from sight. After dealing with Venom, Sumu walked over to the Mind Scepter, lying on the ground, and picked up his first Infinity Stone. He gripped the top of the scepter and squeezed. Tiny black and red sparks crackled. Even with the immense repulsive force, the scepter didn't break. Sumu frowned. Then, a thumb-sized azure black hole and the singularity collided in his palm, forming a swirling purple mass. This time, the scepter couldn't withstand the attack, which was powerful enough to sever space. It was annihilated, leaving behind a bright yellow gem in Sumu's hand. P.S. Mind Gem. As he touched it, pure energy poured into Sumu, and illusions flooded his mind. But the system instantly blocked them. Even cosmic or couldn't affect his soul. Sumu nodded in satisfaction. Just as he thought, the Mind Gem couldn't affect him spiritually. All that remained was pure power. Of all the Infinity Stones, this was the easiest for him to absorb. The system notifications flooded his vision, with energy points skyrocketing. Energy point +1. Energy point +1. Energy point +1. He poured the points into his template fusion, and the percentage rose again. Template fusion degree 79%. P.S. The protagonist is easygoing. He doesn't kill unless it affects him, and if it does, he won't hesitate. Of course, it depends on his mood. He's just here to have fun. Also, if he's outmatched, he'll still surrender. For example, he's no match for the Ancient One or Odin. Please read and collect. Chapter 59, Sudun Bureau. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The template fusion was at 79%, just 1 point shy of unlocking new abilities at 80%. But absorbing energy was becoming too much. Sumu's body was already screaming with exhaustion. He had no choice but to stash the Mind Stone in his pocket dimension, waiting until he recovered. Right now, his energy absorption was only at level 4, barely stronger than Black King. He definitely couldn't handle the full force of an Infinity Stone. But once he hit level 5, he could not only handle it, but maybe even juggle a few at once. Current energy absorption stats, energy absorption LV4, 2987/5000, since he was constantly using it, the skill was leveling up fast, probably hitting level 5 soon. That would seriously speed up the template fusion. Judging by how quickly he was draining Ikaris' energy core, he figured he could bump it up another 1% tomorrow. After stashing the Mind Stone, Sumu eyed Captain America and the others. The stone gave him an idea: Thor Loki, Hydra Cap, a symbiote-powered Hulk, Thor getting his powers early, Black Widow going toe-to-toe with the Hulk, and Sorcerer Supreme Iron Man. Sumu was itching for tomorrow's New York SmackDown. He wondered what they'd think when the Chidori showed up and saw who was waiting for them. Without missing a beat, Sumu put his idea in motion. Captain America and the gang felt a creeping sense of dread looking at the white-haired dude in front of them. But before they could resist, the Mind Stone's power washed over them, twisting their minds completely. Sir, everyone, including Loki, bowed to Sumu. All respect. A slow grin spread across Sumu's face as he looked at his new puppets. Back to the helicarrier, he told them. We've got a big surprise for Nick Fury. Yes, because of Sumu, the relationship between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Tony Stark was lukewarm at best, which explained why Tony was a no-show. They piled into a jet and took off for the helicarrier. P.S. Helicarrier. On the way, Sumu got to work tinkering with the symbiotes latching onto everyone. Loki had Riot, Cap had Serum, and Black Widow was rocking Howl. For some reason, these symbiotes just happened to fall from the sky around the same time and landed near the party. Talk about lucky. Sumu snipped off pieces of each symbiote, Mind Stone blasted their original programming, and threw them all in a blender. Voila! A brand new symbiote was born. But since it had no will of its own, it was more like a suit than a living thing. A suit he could change on a whim. He let the symbiote spread across his body, swallowing his clothes and replacing them with something new. He felt a slight power boost, almost negligible. The jet landed on the helicarrier, and Captain America opened the door to find Nick Fury waiting. Fury smiled. Welcome back, Captain. Where's Loki? Cap turned to Fury, his face serious. On the plane, Nick. But I've got a little gift for you. Hearing his first name, Fury's eyes narrowed. Cap would never call him that, which meant he was being controlled, just like Hawkeye. He jammed his thumb on the pager to call Captain Marvel. Just as a white-haired figure strolled out of the plane, Sumu took in Fury's ugly mug and the pager he was trying to hide. He could have stopped him, but he didn't. His smile only widened. Calling Captain Marvel. Nick Fury's jaw dropped. She can't save you, Nick, my loyal subordinate. Fury realized the situation. He barked at the agents around him. Shoot him. Take down the white-haired freak. But the agents ignored him and pointed their guns at Fury instead. Fury's heart sank. Then a warm smile spread across his face. He looked handsome and friendly, almost more like a stand-up guy than Sumu himself. You've controlled them. You have mind control. No, you got the scepter. You can use it better than Loki ever could. As S.H.I.E.L.D's top dog, Fury put the pieces together in a heartbeat. Knowing the score only made things worse. Seeing Sumu's silence, Fury glared. You think you've won, but you've pissed off too many people. You're gonna die a messy death, mark my words. Ignoring the ranting, Sumu said gently, don't worry, Nico, my loyal subordinate. Those things won't happen. And you're going to help me, right? With a flash of yellow light, Fury's eyes cleared. He looked at Sumu like a god and bowed low. Yes, sir. I dedicate my life and energy to you. With Nick Fury and the agents under his thumb, Sumu grinned. If S.H.I.E.L.D. could become Snake S.H.I.E.L.D., why not Sue S.H.I.E.L.D.? And with that, Sue S.H.I.E.L.D. was officially born. Led by Fury, they marched deeper into the helicarrier, mind-controlling everyone they met until they reached a lab. Only one person was inside. Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, P.S., Dr. Banner, he turned to Fury. Sir, it'll take some time to track down the Tesseract. He trailed off, unable to finish the sentence. Standing behind Fury was the white-haired guy from his nightmares, smiling at him. Even though the smile was warm, it sent a chill down his spine. He recognized this guy. He had been having nightmares about his demons recently. Then he heard the white-haired psycho, who was following Director Nick, say slowly, Dr. Banner, I need you to try these on. There are a few clothes that need you to process. Symbiotes oozed from Captain America and the others, writhing behind the white-haired demon, radiating a sense of dread and menace. Dr. Banner, Hulk. Hulk. Come on out, Hulk, shivering. Chapter 60. The field expands into infinite space. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Edited content. Chapter 60, Domain Expansion, Infinite Void. Using the Mind Stone, Sumu took control of Bruce Banner, forcing him into his Hulk form, and then bonded him with the symbiotes. Even though the symbiotes couldn't gain the Hulk's anger-fueled strength, and the temporary bonding wouldn't grant them his full power, it was still enough to significantly boost their abilities. Instantly, Sumu controlled all the agents aboard the helicarrier, rewriting their minds and commanding their loyalty. Both Serpent Shield and S.H.I.E.L.D. became Su-Shield. Now in complete control of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Loki, Sumu could have stopped the Chitauri invasion, but he didn't want to. The Chitauri army made an ideal testing ground for the Infinite Void. Plus, he wanted to see what the heroes now bonded with symbiotes could really do. Time flew, and the darkness faded, replaced by the harsh morning sun. With Su-Shield established on the helicarrier, Sumu teleported back to his villa. He didn't bother choosing between a villain and a hot actress. After enjoying Agent Hill's services, along with a parade of actresses, Sumu focused all his energy on absorbing power and increasing his template fusion. After a long night, the fusion finally ticked upward. Energy point +1. Template fusion degree, 80%. New skill unlocked, Infinite Void. Infinite Void LV1, 1/100 pulls the opponent into a limitless inner world, forcing their brain to process endless streams of perceptions and conductions just to stay alive. This generates so much useless information that the brain shuts down, leaving them helpless until death. The effect doesn't apply to anyone the host touches. Information flooded his mind, even more than before. But Sumu processed it effortlessly. His level 4/6 eyes handled the massive data surge with ease. Now that he'd digested the information, Sumu could perform domain expansion. And because of the energy absorption, unlike Gojo Satoru, he could repeat it all day long as he had the energy. He'd surpassed the limits of Jujutsu Kaisen. Sumu focused on the system panel again. At 80% fusion, he'd gained Infinite Void, likely Gojo Satoru's ultimate ability. Once he hit 100%, he'd unlock a new character template. Who would it be? Sumu felt a hunch. Reaching 100% would bring not just a new template, but another huge bonus. Closing the system panel and dismissing the actress, Sumu teleported to the helicarrier. Because she controlled Loki, Black Widow immediately greeted him with a report. The portal is ready, the ship's prepped. We're ready to counter the Chitauri whenever you say. Sumu nodded, satisfied, then headed to the command center, where everyone was ready. Eyeing the symbiotes, using his 6 eyes to gauge their strength, he smiled. When the portal opens, you'll take the ship right into the Chitauri mothership. Wreak havoc. Yes, sir. The symbiotes replied in unison. Sumu turned his attention to Banner. The symbiote bonded to him was Riot, who had previously parasitized Loki and copied his incomplete Frost Giant physiology. He wondered how the Frost Giant Hulk would perform in the coming battle. Before opening the portal, Sumu called Tony, hearing a racket on the other end. Tony, where are you? I'm at Kamartage. Sorry, signal's bad here. Let me move. A burst of static, then Tony's voice cleared up. I'm working on my new magic armor with the ancient one. Unit 01's done, we're just testing it out now. Sumu grinned. Got a perfect test opportunity. We're hitting the Chitauri, a cosmic power. Wanna join? Oh my god. Ignoring Tony's shock, Sumu continued, if you're in, get back to Stark Tower. That's ground zero. Wait, Stark Tower, Tony started to protest, but Sumu hung up and ordered Loki. Tell Selvig to open the portal. At the same time, Sumu waved his hand, opening the portal in front of him for Captain America, Banner, and the others. Following last himself, the portal dropped them onto the roof of Stark Tower, where Selvig activated the device. Boom! With the help of advanced instruments, the Tesseract finally unleashed its power. A blue beam of immense energy shot from the top of Stark Tower, piercing the clouds and slowly tearing open a colossal portal in the sky. Sumu smiled grimly, watching the portal materialize. This is my territory. You Chidori want a piece of this? Time to show you what we're made of. P.S. The portal hovers in the sky over New York. The sight captivated New York. In Xavier's lab, Beast Hank stared at his instruments. The energy surging from Stark Tower was off the charts. He told Professor X, Professor, Stark Tower's emitting huge energy surges. Seems to be a portal opening to somewhere else. Professor X placed a finger to his temple, projecting his consciousness to a passerby near Stark Tower and saw the portal opening. He told Beast Hank, Hank, get Jean and the others. X-Men, move out. Meanwhile, in a distant corner of the universe, a hulking titan sat on his throne. He sensed something and looked toward the planet Earth. The elegant Ebony Maw said respectfully to the purple titan, Lord Thanos, this is the first step in your grand design. P.S. The Black Order, Ebony Maw, please read and collect.